Hello, I'm Dwayne McCrary. I just want to take a few moments to share with you about the importance of having some type of plan for doing ongoing training for your leaders and give you six steps you can take for creating a plan. In Steve Parr's book, The Sunday School That Works, one of the most compelling things I found in that book was a chart that he puts together of research they did in Georgia. And it's about churches and the frequency of their leadership meetings. I'm looking down here at it in my lap. They looked at churches. They asked them if how often they had them. Some said they had them weekly. Some said monthly. Some quarterly. Some annually. Some said other, which I don't know what that means. And then some said never. Then they compared their average attendance in their Bible study groups related to their training habits. The churches that had monthly and quarterly leadership training both had growths in their average attendance of 13% over a 4-year time period. Those who never had leader training had declines. Annually, about a 4% increase, and weekly, about a 6%. Obviously, with their research, the monthly and quarterly were the strongest options for doing some type of leadership training on an ongoing basis. Now, I know that tells us the importance of it, encourages us to do it, but one of the issues here is what do we do during that training? The research didn't ask that question. I do find it interesting that those did it weekly didn't grow as consistently as those who did it monthly. I think one reason for that may be that those who do it those who do it weekly, tend to be, what you tend to do is you review a lesson. Even those who do it monthly may review the lessons coming up for the next quarter. And being honest, that's counterproductive. Because what happens when that's the approach you take is that the leaders, first of all, they think you're micromanaging them, that you're telling them what they will teach and how they will teach it in a class. Another group of teachers, they're also going to think that what you're really saying, the message they'll receive, is that you don't think I'm capable of studying on my own, and you're just not allowing me to use the resources that you provide. So really, there's some other things that we could do instead of just reviewing the lessons that may be more productive. Here's 6 steps for how you can determine what those things are. First of all, you need to list all the things that you want the leaders to do or help others to do. For example, you may not expect them to lead the group in mission projects, but you expect them to have somebody in the group that does that. So they need to know how to recruit somebody to do that and how they help prepare somebody to do that action. Fellowship, all those type of things, greeters. They may not be the one doing it once again, but they need to know how to help somebody else do it. So make a list of all those things. Now don't forget some of those things that happen every week. Room set up, cleaning a room, hospital visits, how to pray, how to share your faith. List everything you can. You may want to have an ongoing document where you keep that list, but you want to just keep doing that. After you create the list, the second step would be to categorize the actions that you have. I would use these different categorizations. First of all, I would mark all the ones that I could do with a handout. One of the things that I always provided the leaders in my group were local resource lists. For example, poison control, suicide hotlines, all those kinds of things. Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever. And I had to update it. That could be provided as a handout. I don't have to have a meeting to provide that to my leaders. Go ahead and identify the things that could be done with a handout. Then I would identify the things that could be done with video. There are some things that are static that never change. Case in point, how we do a hospital visit never changes. The same ways it's done now are the same ways it's done back in the past. The same mistakes are made. You don't go in, play with the knobs, all those kinds of things. Go ahead and list the things that could be done with video. Whether that's you creating the video or someone else creating the video. Then the last group, I would go ahead and identify the things that I need to do face to face. These may be things that are strategic or that things that just need to be focused on during that time of ministry in your church. For us, example, our church is about to go into an interim time without a pastor. Pastoral care issues are things that we as leaders in our church are going to need to be more in tune with. So from a strategic standpoint, it may be more important for us to have some face-to-face training on those type of issues, pastoral care. After you categorize them, then the third step is to assign those to some type of schedule. If you're doing monthly events, monthly training, then you're really going to have 9 training times. You're probably not going to do it in December. And you're probably not going to do it in July. But you will do it. Well, and the other one is you may not do it as well at the start of your Sunday school year, because that's going to be more inspirational than it will be training. So you've got 9 things, if you're doing it monthly, that you're going to have to account for. If you're doing it quarterly, you really got 3, because that first one, let's say your Sunday school year starts in August and you have a kickoff training, it's really more inspirational than it is training. But go ahead and mark those out, plan them out. So you're assigning them to a time, a schedule. The fourth step then is start gathering resources. Look at books. Look for experts who can help you get content. Begin to gather those kinds of things. One of the things I do is I have a folder system. I keep every one of the things I expect others to do or know how to do in a folder. If I need to lead a conference and to help somebody, I just grab that folder and I'm ready to go. Those folders, I could move them over to my computer, but I've had some of them for so long that some of that stuff in there is now fresh. It's not old anymore, so it's new because it hadn't been used in a while. But I'm going to gather those folders so I have all the content that I may need to have for a training event. Then, as those assigned dates occur, I'm going to conduct that event and I'm going to lead it. I may involve others in it, but I'm going to be the one leading it. Part of that's because they need to know that I am the expert. I've studied it. I'm trying to help them understand how to do it better, and it helps me have a place around the table. The last thing I would do is I would evaluate. I'd always be looking at my categories. Are these really the things that we need to continue to do face-to-face? Are these really the things that we should provide by video, or do I need to move them into the face-to-face group? Or do I need to move some of the face-to-face things into video or handouts? I'm also going to be evaluating how each meeting goes. What can I do to better present the content? What can I do to become a better educator myself? What am I studying? What am I reading? How does that feed into what I'm doing? I'm just going to keep on doing that. But those are the 6 things. I'm going to list everything. I'm going to categorize those actions. Then I'm going to assign them or schedule them, gather resources. Then I'm going to conduct the training. And then I'm going to evaluate the training, both what we're doing in the training and the future needs. One of the most compelling statements I've ever found about ongoing training is in a book by Aubrey Malphurs called Building Leaders. And I'm just going to read you this as you think about the need for ongoing training. And this is on page 27 of the book. If we ask our people to lead any ministry of the church, we're responsible to provide them with continual leadership training. If we can't do this, we have no business asking them to serve, doing both them and the ministry an injustice. Without ongoing training, our recruits will struggle and often fail, and the rest of the ministry will experience the effects in the resulting leadership vacuum. People are too important to be treated this way. When a training process is in place, we demonstrate powerfully the value we place on people and combat the cogs in a machine mindset. You know, that challenges me. That statement, if we can't do this, we have no business asking them to serve. If we don't help the folks that we recruit to be better at what we've asked them to do, then we are failing them. That's what Malford is saying, and that's been true in my own ministry, my own experience. I have a responsibility, if I'm going to ask them to do something, to help them get better. And what I found is usually they want to get better. They want to do the things that they're being asked to do. I've never met someone in any of my travels who've come up and told me, says, I just want to be mediocre. I think most of the folks that we recruit want to excel, and it's up to us to help them do that. Thank you for letting me share with you, and I hope you find this helpful.